Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Learn Spanish Like I Did podcast. I'm Wesley, and with me as always is the maestro of all things Spanish, Emilio.
Gracias, Wesley. It's great to be here, excited for today's topic, which is something so fundamental yet often overlooked when you're first starting out.
Absolutely. Today we're diving into how to describe your home in Spanish. You know, it's one of those things you'll inevitably want to talk about, whether you're making new friends, inviting someone over, or just making small talk. Where do you live? What's it like? It's a natural conversation starter.
Exactly. And it's not just about memorizing a list of words. We're going to break it down into manageable chunks, the rooms, the furniture, and then those crucial little words, the prepositions of place, that really help you paint a picture. And we'll tie it all together with simple descriptive sentences.
Perfect. So Emilio, let's start with the basics. The rooms in a house. What are some of the most common ones our listeners should know?
All right, let's get right into it. First up, probably the most social area, the living room. In Spanish, that's la sala, or sometimes el salón. La sala is very common. Think of it as where you relax, where you have your couch.
Got it. So la sala. And what about where you eat?
That would be el comedor, the dining room. Super important, especially in many Spanish-speaking cultures where meals are a central event. Then, of course, where all the magic happens with food, la cocina, the kitchen.
La cocina. Easy enough to remember. And after all that eating and socializing, you need a place to sleep.
Indeed. That's el dormitorio, or la habitación. Both are widely used for bedroom. El dormitorio is perhaps a bit more formal, while la habitación can sometimes just mean the room in a general sense, but it's very commonly used for bedroom as well. And you definitely can't forget el baño, the bathroom. Essential, right?
Absolutely essential. So la sala, el comedor, la cocina, el dormitorio or la habitación, and el baño. That's a good foundation for the main areas. Any other common ones that might come up?
Yeah, good question. Many homes these days have una oficina for an office, especially with more people working from home. And if you have an outdoor space, el jardín for garden or el balcón for balcony are great to know. Also, el garaje for garage, which is pretty similar to English.
Okay, that covers the spaces really well. Now let's furnish these rooms. What are some key pieces of furniture, los muebles, that we should learn?
Right, los muebles. Let's go room by room, starting with la sala. The most important piece there is el sofá, the sofa or couch. You'll also likely have una mesa de centro, a coffee table, and maybe un sillón, an armchair, for those cozy reading moments.
El sofá, la mesa de centro, el sillón. Got it. Moving to el comedor, I imagine a table and chairs are key?
Precisely. Una mesa for table and las sillas for chairs. Plural because you rarely have just one, right? Una mesa y cuatro sillas, for example. Very straightforward.
Makes sense. And la cocina, that's where things get a bit more specific with appliances.
Oh, definitely. In la cocina, you'll have la nevera or el refrigerador for the refrigerator, la estufa for the stove, el horno for the oven, and el microondas for microwave. Again, quite similar to English. A simple lavaplatos for a dishwasher is also good to know.
Okay, la nevera, la estufa, el horno, el microondas, el lavaplatos. That's a solid list for the kitchen. Now for the bedroom, el dormitorio.
In el dormitorio, the star is la cama, the bed. Next to it, you might have una mesita de noche, a nightstand. And for your clothes, el armario, the wardrobe or closet. Some people might also have una cómoda, a dresser or chest of drawers.
La cama, la mesita de noche, el armario. Those are super practical. And in el baño?
For el baño, you've got el inodor for the toilet, el lavabo for the sink, and la ducha for the shower, or la bañera if you have a bathtub. Those are the main pieces there.
All right, so we've got the rooms, we've got the furniture. Now how do we say where everything is? This is where prepositions of place come in, right?
Exactly, Wesley. These are the glue. They tell you not just what's there, but its relationship to other things. Let's start with en. It means in or on. Very versatile. For example, el libro está en la mesa. The book is on the table. Or estoy en casa. I am at home.
So en can be both in and on. That's good to know. What if I want to be more specific about something being on top of?
For on top of, you'd use sobre. So la lámpara está sobre la mesa. The lamp is on top of the table. It implies direct contact and being physically on something, often elevated.
Okay, sobre for on top of. And the opposite, under?
That's debajo de, literally under of. So el gato está debajo de la cama. The cat is under the bed. Remember, delinks it to the noun that follows.
Got it. Debajo de. Now what about spatial relationships like next to or in front of?
Good ones. For next to or beside, you use al lado de. Like la silla está al lado de la mesa. The chair is next to the table. And for in front of, it's enfrente de. So la televisión está enfrente del sofá. The TV is in front of the sofa. Note the dull, which is a contraction of de, el.
Oh, dull. That's a good reminder about those contractions. So enfrente de for in front of.
Yeah.
What about behind?
Behind is detrás de. El cuadro está detrás del sofá. The painting is behind the sofa. And another really common one is entre, for between. El libro está entre el sillón y la mesa. The book is between the armchair and the table.
Okay, that's a really good set of prepositions. En, sobre, debajo de, al lado de, enfrente de, detrás de, entre. Now, Emilio, how do we start putting these pieces together to actually describe a room or our home simply?
This is where it gets fun. The two most important verbs you'll use are hay and estar. Hay means there is or there are, and estar means to be and is used for location. So when you're introducing something, saying it exists, you use hay. When you're talking about where something specific is, you use estar.
Give us an example, Emilio. How would I say there is a sofa in the living room?
Perfect. You'd say hay un sofá en la sala. Simple as that. You could also say hay dos ventanas en el dormitorio. There are two windows in the bedroom. Notice hay doesn't change for singular or plural.
Ah, that's a key point. Hay, for both singular and plural. So if I then want to say the sofa is next to the window, how would I use estar?
Excellent. You'd say el sofá está al lado de la ventana. Here, está is the singular form of estar for el sofá. If you were talking about the chairs, you'd say las sillas están alrededor de la mesa. The chairs are around the table. Están is the plural form.
So hay for existence, estar for location, and making sure to conjugate estar correctly for singular, está, and plural, están. This is really starting to click.
You got it. Let's try to build a little description together. Say you're describing your living room. You could start with, en mi sala hay un sofá grande y una mesa de centro. In my living room, there is a big sofa and a coffee table.
And then I could add, el sofá está enfrente de la televisión. The sofa is in front of the television. Oh, and I almost forgot, la televisión for television.
Perfect addition. See how naturally it flows? Now let's try a bedroom. En mi dormitorio hay una cama cómoda y un armario grande. In my bedroom, there is a comfortable bed and a big wardrobe. Then, la cama está al lado de la ventana y el armario está en la pared. The bed is next to the window and the wardrobe is on the wall.
That makes so much sense. I like how you can just stack these simple sentences. You don't need to overcomplicate it. It's about getting the basic information across. And what about adjectives for description, like comfortable and big that you just used?
Excellent point. Adjectives are key for making your descriptions more vivid. We used grande for big, cómoda for comfortable. Other useful ones are pequeñoa for small, nuevoa for new, viejoa for old, modernoa for modern, luminosoa for bright. Remember, they need to agree in gender and number with the noun they describe.
Right. So un sofá grande, because sofá is masculine, and una cama cómoda, because cama is feminine, and un dormitorio luminoso, if the bedroom is bright.
Precisely. You've got the agreement down. Now let's try to string together a slightly longer description of a whole house, or at least a few key rooms, to show how it all fits.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so imagine a small apartment. I might say, mi apartamento es pequeño pero muy luminoso. Hay una sala, una cocina y un dormitorio. My apartment is small but very bright. There is a living room, a kitchen, and a bedroom.
Okay, that's a great start. Then you could say, en la sala hay un sofá gris y una mesa de centro de madera. In the living room, there is a gray sofa and a wooden coffee table.
Excellent. And let's add some location. El sofá está enfrente de la televisión y hay una ventana grande al lado del sofá. The sofa is in front of the television, and there is a big window next to the sofa.
This is flowing so well. What about the kitchen? La cocina es moderna. Hay una nevera, una estufa, y un microondas. The kitchen is modern. There is a fridge, a stove, and a microwave.
Perfect. And for the bedroom, en el dormitorio hay una cama grande y un armario blanco. La cama está entre dos mesitas de noche. In the bedroom, there is a big bed and a white wardrobe. The bed is between two nightstands.
Wow, we just described an entire apartment in simple Spanish. This is so empowering. It really shows how you can use these basic building blocks to communicate a lot.
Exactly. The key is to start simple, use the vocabulary you know, and practice. Don't worry about being perfect, just try to get your message across. Think about your own home right now. Can you identify the main rooms and a few pieces of furniture in Spanish?
That's a fantastic exercise. I'm literally looking around my office right now, thinking el escritorio, la silla, la computadora, and la ventana está al lado del escritorio.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. And you can expand on this. Start adding colors. La pared es azul, the wall is blue. Or textures, una alfombra suave, a soft rug. But master the basics first, the rooms, the key furniture, and those prepositions.
Yeah, trying to describe your home in your head, or even out loud, is a great way to reinforce these words and structures. I always tell listeners that active practice makes all the difference.
Debades. It truly does, and remember to use these words in context. Don't just make flashcards. Look around your actual home and say, Esto es mi cocina. Hay una nevera blanca. La nevera está al lado de la estufa. You'll find it sticks much better.
Absolutely. Immersion doesn't just mean traveling to a Spanish-speaking country. It means immersing yourself in the language wherever you are, even in your own living room. Emilio, this has been incredibly helpful for anyone looking to talk about their home in Spanish.
My pleasure, Wesley. It's a fundamental part of everyday conversation, and once you have this down, you'll feel so much more confident in describing your environment and yourself. Keep practicing, everyone.
Fantastic advice. And that's all the time we have for today's episode. A big thank you to Emilio for breaking down La Casa for us. To our listeners, keep practicing, keep speaking, and we'll catch you next time on Learn Spanish Like I Did.